Yes. That seems to be a favorite song for those who come to the Lancescurv show on a regular basis. Welcome on in to the Lancescurv podcast. I'm happy to be back once again live. Just want to let you know in the very beginning that if there's any type of power outage or glitch, give me a moment and I'll be back on with an alternative source of power. And we have an interesting show tonight. It's a show that, or rather a discussion that we need to go in on with surgical precision, because there's a lot of misunderstandings between, and I will say, Black American culture and Ghanaian culture. And it seems as though those who have traveled both sides have a better understanding. Welcome on in, Brother Callum Monk. Love the music. So I'm not one to partially tell one side or get emotional about it, but many understand and there are many who don't understand. There's a lot of differences. There's a lot of things that both sides need to know. And there's some people on both sides who just don't get it. They just are stuck in their ways. On the Ghanaian side and the American side, I'm going to be fair. I've had many conversations with people in the 5 years and 2 months. Yes, it's that long. The 5 years and 2 months that I've lived here straight, I never left. Okay, I think that counts for something, because some people, they bounce back and forth, which is, you're right. It doesn't mean that I'm more attuned to my new home because I've been here straight, but I think it does count for some momentum. And I'm not isolated from the people. I'm here. I ride the chochos. I'm in the street. You know, I'm not driving right now. I don't need to drive right now. I love the fellowship with the people. And those who know me have embraced me. And those who don't know me think I'm a tourist, you know, because they already know when they see me, oh, you're a brony. How long are you staying? And I say, well, I live here. They say, you live here? What do you mean? I said, I live here permanently. So because of that, and because of that proximity, just had a good meal. I'm in a state of digestive bliss, right? And it wasn't what you see on the screen right now, but this is a familiar sight for many who are born and raised here or travel here, and that's their palate. They love the jollof rice, the egg, chicken, all the stuff here, right? The food is the bomb. Trust and believe. So I'm going to give props, but I'm also going to get down. Like I said, we're going to start out. I jotted down a few notes. Like I said, those who come in later, they'll get the beginning on the replay. This may not be a long show. I just want to put this out there because many people have asked me my opinion on living here. And I said, well, I live here, so it must be something to it, right? And I'm not one to say anywhere on the planet is perfect. Nowhere on the planet is perfect. You know, you have growing pains. You acclimate yourself to understand the rhythm, and you have to understand at the grassroots how life is. And it has been not a challenge for me, but I challenge myself to see life from a Ghanaian's view, from their perspective. And no one is monolithic. Not every Ghanaian is the same, right? You have different classes of people here. And I don't say that, but I can see that that's what it is. And there's certain things we're going to talk about that are not pleasant. Okay. And, you know, you're right. You're right. You're right, Color Monk. We can do that. We can work together, but a lot of us don't because it's a separation. And then we have people, you know, putting it out there that one side doesn't love the other and the other doesn't love. They don't want to. There's a faction of people that don't want to see us get together and get along and understand each other. You got to be willing to open your mind and understand the differences, right? And that's what I hope to start with this dialogue. I'm starting. This is not the last time I talk about it because there's going to be comments. There's going to be ideas. I'm gonna go in hard right now, and I might step on a few toes. So I have to do this. So anyway. Let's start. I wrote a short article that will be on my Substack page, which is Lancescurvx.com. Lancescurvx. Everything I do will be on Lancescurvx. That's my Substack page. If you don't know about Substack, learn about it. It's the greatest thing going on. Here we go. There are moments in life when a man steps into a new land and instantly feels the shift in his spirit. Living in Ghana long enough will do that to you. It slows your pulse, stretches your patience, deepens your gratitude, and forces you to see the world and America with a different lens, with different eyes. When you've lived in both places long enough, you begin to understand that these are two different worlds shaped by two very different histories, cultures, expectations, and spiritual rhythms. And that is where the comparisons really begin. Ghana and the United States look similar on paper. Modern economies, busy cities, ambitious populations, and dreams of a better tomorrow. But once your feet hit the ground and you start living daily life, the differences scream louder than the similarities. These differences touch everything: how people see success, how families operate, how money circulates, how community works, and how stress eats away at people in America while Ghanaians seem to walk with a weightless spirit. Below, and what I'm going to read, is the real breakdown. Not from a tourist's eyes, not from a superficial expat viewpoint, but from a Black man who has lived deeply in both worlds and sees the contrast with clarity. Okay, we got 15 points here, I think. Yeah, you know what, it's probably like 100. But we're going to start out with these, and I welcome everybody on both sides and wherever you're from to comment on this after this is up as a video, because I'm going to use that as a template to do part 2 or continuation of us understanding each other. And yes, I am broadcasting live from Ghana in the eastern region up in the mountains. And it's kind of hot tonight, but when I go outside, the breeze is cool, you know? Anyway, number 1. And these are things that people have asked me. Please do one, Lance. And I did not want to do the type where I'm walking down around the tourist sites and something on this before. It's the generic thing. You know, I go to the nitty gritty. I'm in the Medina market all the time. I'm in Circle all the time. I'm in the places that many people, when they come here on a tourist visit, will not go, right? Naked and bare. Well, not naked, but naked from any superficial, my nose up in the air as an American because I'm better, because a lot of Americans come here and act that way. I'm right down there in the nitty gritty, and there's a whole city, a whole country that can tell you when they see my face that that's how I carry myself, right? So I have a lot of people who can vouch for me, and this is why this is home for me now. Let's go down the list, and I'll ad lib on some of it, but I want to get these points out. Number 1, pace of life and stress levels. In America, life moves at a speed designed to burn you out. Now listen, Ghanaians, listen to this. I want both sides to listen to both sides Because when you look at things on social media and it looks so good and money is flowing, there's a side you don't know about America. People live in constant anxiety, rushing, grinding, performing, competing, chasing. In Ghana, the pace is human. Life breathes. People aren't slaves to the clock. When someone says, "I'm coming," it means they'll arrive, but without the frantic panic. This slower rhythm keeps blood pressure down, allows patience to grow, and gives the mind space to heal from the high-pressure American way of living. Now, it can be frustrating when you don't understand that. Say, for example, if someone said they'll be to your premises to do work or give you an estimate, and you agree that, well, you'll be there 11 a.m. in the morning. Now it's 12:30 in the afternoon. You're like, wait a second, they were supposed to be here 90 minutes ago. See, in America, everything is on the clock like that. In Ghana, he might show up at 11:30. He might show up at 2. He might show up at 3, but he will show up. Some don't, but for the most part, they'll show up. You call up, he'll say, "I'm coming, I'm coming." That's just the way it is. It's not the same thing. And I explained to many Ghanaians here that when you're on a job, you got to be by that punch clock minutes before. Say, for example, you have to be there at 9 a.m. You better be there at 8:55, 8:53, standing by that punch clock with all of your other coworkers. And you better punch that clock. If you're a few minutes late, you're late. Most of the time you get 3 write-ups for being late. You're fired. Here, it's a little different, right? It's more laid back. And that goes with the other things too. You go to a restaurant, you order your food, they're going to take their time and make the food for you and bring the food to you. In America, you have the waiters and the waitresses, they're taking the order and they go back, and it's almost like in 4 minutes, 3 minutes, 5 minutes, you have your food right there. And you see how hectic they are. It's a different pace. So with the pace in America and the stress in America, when you come here, it's slower, it's different. And when you live here for a while, man, it's enjoyable. I used to be frustrated when I first got here. It's like, how long are these guys going to take with my food? You know, you went to the back to look for something and I see him on his phone on the side, you know, but now that I'm here for a while and it's sunk in, it's part of me, but I can still move fast. I can still move, and I still do within myself, but I gauge it according to where I am. You know, I'm here now. This is not America. This is Ghana. I'm here. So I've acclimated myself to that, right? Number 2, community versus individualism. America is the land of me. Ghana is the land of we. When something happens in Ghana, everybody knows. Everybody checks in and everybody helps. In the US, people walk past each other like ghosts. Isolation is normal. Depression thrives. The lack of community support system destroys many people emotionally and mentally. Ghana reminds you that humans are not meant to live alone inside boxes, working themselves to death. Here's a funny thing, and this is so true what I just said. In America, and this is not 100, anything I say tonight is not 100% like it's rigid that way. There are exceptions on both sides because human nature is alive and well, good and bad, no matter where you are. And I'm away from the chat room. I just want to check and see how everything is going. And let me see. Okay. All right. We got Matthew White, M. George. Let me see who else is here. We got Calamunk, of course. I'm not ignoring you. I'm just checking on my notes. So I got the one screen. I got the other one over here. So we working. So like I was saying, it's not a one size fits all thing, but I will say it's true. America is about getting yours, getting your bag, getting your money. Ghana is more communal, right? I've seen it where people have gotten into the the street. Say, for example, Chocho driver with a passenger, and they're talking and they're pointing at each other close. It just never seems to come to blows. They get close, they'll get angry, they'll express themselves. And if it seems like it's going to break out, the people, you hear them, hey, hey, and they get between and they'll start pulling people apart. But I've never seen it come down to where you're punching and kicking and fighting. I've never seen it. I've never seen it. I've seen some intense arguments, disagreements, and it's not even common with that. But when it happens, me with my New York City timing and clock, because aside from being born and raised in America, it's New York City. That's a different place than the rest of the country, right? I'm thinking, not that I say the fight should have started. I say, man, if this was New York City, man, that fight would have started like 2 minutes ago. They're still arguing with each other. Here, it's different. So I can't bring that mentality here. Not that I would get into anything physical with anybody, but my expectations are different. It's more where you can express yourself, even if you're angry, and not really get into a fight. I've seen this time and time again, and I've been in situations where I had it around me where some big burly dudes are in each other's face, and I'm like, man, let me get out of the way. I don't want to catch one of these blows, and it never happens. And then you come out the next day, and they're sitting there, and they're drinking some soda or something together, or a malt or whatever, and I'm like, and they're laughing and talking. So it heals better. I will say also that many who come, and it's not just America, I'm saying America because I'm from America, but the West, the Western mentality, UK, America, all of that, Canada. And again, it's not everybody, but I find the ones who are separated are the ones who come from the West when they come here. They'll group up a little bit and they'll have disputes because they're bringing that mindset here. They'll be here for a little while, talk the good talk, and they're the ones separated. They may get along with the Ghanaians, but they're the ones separated. And some of them keep in contact because they want to really stay in your business, right? And that's Black folks everywhere all over the world. But I find it to be funny that many Americans have come to Ghana and don't get along. I'm just going to say it. That's not 100% of the case. But drama, I avoid it. The Ghanaian people really don't give me any problems because I understand and I'm relaxed. But that Western mentality, we have a lot of us who come from over in the West. We change our names and we wear the kente cloth and the ankh and we wear the hats and we speak a certain way and we raise in hell, right? And many Ghanaians see that and don't want to be bothered. They won't say that, but they don't want to be bothered because it's perception. And do that with your own people you come from, you're going to do that here, right? So you got to vet everybody, no matter who they are, right? Number 3, family structure. And I know I stepped on some toes with that. Leave your comments. I anonymously or make up a new page and come and say something. Come talk to me, right? It's the truth. Number 3, family structure. In the U.S., families have become fragmented, distant, and emotionally disconnected. You see what I'm saying? Ghanaian families remain interconnected, supportive, and deeply rooted. Elders are respected, not discarded. Children grow up surrounded by guidance, not screens like this, tablets, computers. The family here is not a burden. It is a source of strength and support. And that's a beautiful thing. And this is why, from my observations, not just where I live, down in the city too, but really I can see the flavor of it being up here in the country. How up here you have maybe a little restaurant that has a couple lights on it and little music playing. And people will go there, families, friends will go there and sit there and order something out to eat or just hang around on a Friday night, Saturday night. But it's not any hardcore clubs up here where it's more family oriented because, different parts of Ghana, you have the country, you have the city like Accra, and you have it just like the West over there too, by the appearance. So you have the tourist spots in the places that resemble the West. And when I want to get a feel of the West, I'll go down there. Not much, but if I want to stay out late, and a couple of times when I first got here, I binged on different things. I would go down there and stay down there all night, you know what I mean, until the morning time just to get that feel. And now for me, it's a happy balance because I do go down to the city. There's supermarkets down there that have things that they don't have up here, in the villages in the country. So I'll go down there for a few items, but I get a lot of my stuff up here too. You know, fruit is really inexpensive. It's GMO free. Oh man, the flavor of it is so good. You don't know what you're missing. But the family structure, yes, it gives a different feel to the community as opposed to America, where when something happens, and like I say from the prior point, community versus individualism, when something happens, everybody's concerned. You know, they're very concerned and supportive about things. You won't see something bad happen and somebody whip out their phone and start recording. I don't see bad things happen, like fights between people, stabbings and shootings, and you don't hear that. You don't see it. You don't see that. People put their hands on you to prevent you from escalating. And really, if they did, it still wouldn't escalate. Dissipate. Like I said, the next day you'll see two people who are arguing where you thinking they were going to get in the fight, and it never happens, right? Family structure, that's what it's all about. And we lost that in America. I know families that don't talk to each other. They'll walk past each other in the street and claim to be so righteous and full of wisdom. That is weird to me. Human nature never ceases to amaze me. I just kick back and observe. You know, I never thought I'd see certain things, but that's how people are sometimes. And to see them wear the different masks, real family structure, real elders with wisdom, they wouldn't allow that to go on. You know what I mean? But you can't stop people from being how they are. Number 4, relationship expectations. In the United States, relationships are built around independence, personal convenience, money, and emotional triggers. Ghanaian relationships tend to prioritize stability, duty, partnership, and long-term goals. There is less transactional energy, less competition between partners, and more emphasis on building a household that works. I can see that. I don't see any of the women out here talking about, I don't need no man. I can do bad all by myself. The family structure way of growing up where families are close, that trickles over into the relationships here, right? But we have other splinters of this that I'll go into later on. But when a Ghanaian couple's together, they're together, and it's not based on being independent of each other or just convenient or I'm going to marry you just this way for this and for that. And you have that here. I don't know the proportions, but what you have in the West, you have a sprinkling of it here, but the majority of it is not like the West, right? And I've seen marriages of convenience here, and it was obvious, but I wouldn't say that is the majority. You see what I mean? Number 5, materialism and wealth signaling. America teaches you to prove your worth through things, cars, brand names, gadgets, debt masquerading as success. And that's a big thing there. I always tell people, I'm not jealous of your debt. You're parading it around like a success, like you have all of this stuff. And I'm not against anybody who achieves anything, but that's the push in America, materialism and signaling to the world that you've made it because you have things around you, but you have more mental illness over there than anything else. And go figure, you have a sprinkling of mental illness over here. It's far fewer because the atmosphere is nurturing because of the family structure and relationships, right? That holds it down. Ghana teaches you that wealth is peace, land, family, and being grounded in your own identity. People are not running around trying to look rich. They are trying to live meaningfully. I'm going to say that again, a part of it again. Ghana teaches you that wealth is peace, land, family, and being grounded in your own identity. Nobody's running around here trying to look rich. You do have some who get on social media and get intoxicated by what they see in America, and they figure that that is the way to come off. And then you have tourists who come from America and other places, and they want to show out. And lots of times they'll spend extra money. They'll spend money on certain outfits. And many Ghanaians will see that and say, oh man, they've got money, they're rich, and get touched by that mentality. Go on social media and want to go to America so bad because they think that's the way. Or they may feel bad that they don't have what the Americans have. But many Americans who come here on vacation, they don't have it like that. Like I said before, America is run on credit. It's about credit. Ghana is run on cash. What you have is what you have. And we'll get into that. I'm going to go down through these points and continue on. Let me check the chat room. See? Oh, wow. We're filling up over here. Okay. Sister Queen Diane, welcome on in. Of course, Calamunk is there. Let me see. I got my camera propped up. That's why I'm moving my head like that. So, yeah, I'm glad you all are here. We got 12 people in. There'll be more people later on. I made this up at the last minute, so it wasn't like I broadcast this particular live episode a week in advance. So that's just what it is. Number 6, spirituality. In America, spirituality is either commercialized or abandoned. Oh, that's bad. In Ghana, it is the heartbeat of daily life. Prayer is natural. Belief in a higher power shapes behavior. People turn to God before they turn to medication or alcohol. There is a spiritual foundation that America has long lost. And I'm going to say that it's entrenched, it's traditional, it's the way to go here in Ghana. But there's also a lot of falsehoods also, as you would expect. Just like in America, even decades ago when we can remember a more, I'll say, spiritual-based existence. Well, we have the religion, the commercialized religion. Like I said, it's either commercialized or abandoned, right? But something's missing in America. And we have the spirituality here, but we do have this nature. All the things that happen with nature, good and bad, and I'm talking about the bad, can happen here on a level that betrays the spiritual visage, to be real. You have adultery here, you have people cheating, you have people stealing. Not everybody, but it goes on here. But it's not broadcast, right? And that's what kind of makes it hard when you deal with someone here, because they will portray this, and this is not everybody, this way of being righteous, and sometimes greed can come in, lust can come in, resentment sometime, and I'll speak about that, right? There's so many open ends, so I'm not trying to paint a perfect picture. I'm not trying to say America is trash and Ghana is perfect. Ghana has things that it has to improve in. America is losing a lot. There are good people in America, but I'm finding it harder and harder as the years go by to find the upright and just in the American system, which is going to hell, and many of the people are following behind it. Anyway, here's the next. Number 7, money mindset. Americans spend money before they make it. Ghanaians stretch what they have, plan long-term, and build slowly. America normalizes debt. Ghana normalizes patience. And boy, do many here have a lot of patience. And again, this is not one side against the other, but the temptation to spend money before you make it in America, I mean, you look at the television ads, the computer ads, or the internet ads, stuff on your phone, the videos you see, the things that influence you in the way you think to make you feel like you're not enough if you don't have this or you have that. Now, the smartphone is bringing that over here. And like I said, and it sounds like a prison sentence, right? I've been here for 5 years and 2 months at the time of this discussion. And I see the change. Not where I am as much, but down in the city, that thing, that Western seduction on how the Westerners think, it's influenced many here. But it's not going to be something that changes overnight. And I hope it just doesn't come here like this, because I'll move further out. I love the country feel. I love how uncomplicated people are. But you can still see it now. And I'm not just going to blame social media, but when you have the two cultures blending and one has one thing in their head about the culture here, and someone who's here has something about the culture that I come from in America, there's going to be some misunderstandings. Even when you grin and bear it, I don't mean like a confrontation, but unless we talk about it like this, and then we can make the proper options, because 80% or 50% is this way or that way. No, I'm not going to do that. I'm putting it out there, and we can dissect it later on. Number 8, food culture. In America, processed food dominates. Fast food is survival. Health breaks down early. In Ghana, food is fresh, grown from the soil, cooked slowly, and eaten with intention. You taste the earth, not chemicals. Your body feels the difference. I will say, fast food is infiltrating Ghana. Not at some alarming rate, but many who are here in Ghana, the younger folks, some of the older folks, they're getting down with KFC, Burger King, McDonald's, different types of pizza, whatever have you. And I can see in the country where there's a little distance from that, people are cooking, they buy something from somebody who's preparing it up here if it's something commercial. You have the street vendors, you have the small restaurants, people that eat there. And I'm gonna tell you something, in comparison, it's dirt cheap. I couldn't believe it. You can come to Ghana and go in the city of Accra and pay just as much for something, if not more, than you'd pay in America for food. I'm not just talking about fast food, but just in the tourist areas, because that's where they capitalize off of. Up here, you can get a good-sized portion of jollof rice, 2 pieces of chicken, maybe an egg in there, right? And cabbage, right? And pay 25 CDs. Matter of fact, I'm going to go up to one of the people that I get stuff from. I'm an interviewer and let you see the food and see how good it is and how fast. She makes it fast because she prepares it. So when she throws it together and heats it up, boom, it's ready. But 25 CDs. Now, at the rate right now of $1 for 11 CDs, and it always fluctuates. Tomorrow it might be $10.50 or $11.50, but right now they say it's $1 for 11 CDs, 25 CDs. I mean, basically, it's $2 and change. It's $2 and change to get a full meal, because you're up in the mountains and nobody's spending that kind of money, some big money, like somebody in a restaurant with waiters and it's tourists. And that's anywhere you go, any country you go to, there's a tourist area where everything is so expensive. But the food culture here is basic. One thing I will say that I'm not knocking Ghanaian culinary but from my point of view, I think it's a lot too much starch. A little too much starch, a little bit too much sometimes the fried food. I think that does a lot of folks in. But with that being said, when you live way out in the country and you're farming and you're in the sun and you're moving all day, I've noticed the physiques of males and females. This is just subjective because I used to be involved in bodybuilding, so I look at it that way. When I look at the women, I don't look, in lust. But the fabulous bodies that many in the country have from the manual labor, the good food, being in the sun, I've never seen natural. It's a beautiful thing. But the food, I don't like the fact that the fast food is coming here big time. You go to the malls and many younger Ghanaians feel it may be a treat. You know, mommy, I want McDonald's. I hear them. I want this, I want that. And that's what scares me. On the other hand, off topic for a second, there's a lot of practices and things that are being pushed here in Ghana from the West that I don't like, that will take away from the original flavoring and strength of Ghana. Because I see what is done in America, and certain things don't even need to be here. And many Ghanaians are not aware. It's like, okay, for example, oh God, what's the name? Atrazine, the fertilizer that changes, and it's proven, you can look it up, Google it. It's atrazine, it's ATRAZINE. After this is over, I'll drop it in the comments section, a link that you can click on. And that's the fertilizer that in higher dosages has been proven to change male frogs to female frogs that lay eggs. Why don't we hear more about this? And it's used heavily in California, Texas, and Florida. I don't know if they've pulled it back or the use of it, but that's been used like that. What kind of effect is that having on the male population? And when I go down to Medina Market and look at all the fertilizers they have in little bottles, atrazine is the primary ingredient there. Why are they selling atrazine in a place where the men are very masculine, right? They have no problems usually that others have with intimate lives or physically. Now you have some who may eat and be a little obese and they're not into keeping them, so they just eat and don't think. But why is that here? Why is that here en masse like that? See, to go off the topic for a second in food culture, that's foul. To me, that's by design, to put so much atrazine here, right? Anyway, that's for another show, another topic, or we can break down another America Ghana show like that. Number 9, respect and manners. Ghana has a culture. Elders are greeted, strangers are acknowledged, titles matter. In America, disrespect has become casual. People talk to elders like peers. Children curse out parents. There is no reverence. It's true. I had to get used to it because I got acclimated to living in America. And I was always open to greet somebody. When you see somebody look at you with a stone face, then hey, just keep on going. I'm not gonna run you down. But coming here, I see like, wow, the kids, the children, school kids, good afternoon, good evening. People, good afternoon, good evening. Sometimes every now and then you'll get looks from somebody because they know that you didn't come up here. They're not gonna know that I live here. If I go to an area where people don't know me, they'll just look okay. It's almost like an apprehensive look if they don't speak. But I tell you, when I do speak, when it's that situation where I'm getting like stares, because they can tell them from somewhere else. If they hear me talking on the phone and say, okay, this guy's from America, he's a brony, right? That's the name for foreigner. When I turn around and say, good afternoon, then all of a sudden the smiles, they're beaming now. Like, maybe this guy might not be nice or whatever. And I'm gonna tell you another thing too. I have some friends out here that give me the real deal. They don't want to put their face on the camera. They don't want to put their voice, on a show or whatever, but they told me I can repeat what they say. I'm not gonna put their names out there. But I asked them, and several people, we were having a discussion. And I consider myself somebody who can talk to anybody and receive information and not get mad. I asked them, I said, how do you really see Black Americans? And they looked at each other and they were kind of shy. I said, no, I'm different. You know what I do online? I like to be the one to filter out the information, especially when it's something touchy. Because my term, Calamunk, like I always say, I like to go in with surgical precision. I like to talk about the things that many people find uncomfortable, that they'd rather not talk about, that they talk about at home, around a kitchen table, around dinner with their family, but they don't, or friends, or in whispers. But I don't do it in a confrontational way. We have to figure out what it is so we can heal each other, so we can understand each other. And they said, well, we kind of have a feeling that a lot of Black Americans, and I'm saying this concentrated, they didn't say it like this. I kind of scraped everything together and now I'm saying it this way, but this is basically what it was. They basically said, they're confrontational, argumentative, have a short fuse, they want to rush you, they're not considerate, and a lot of them are just so rude. I was like, whoa. And they say it's not everybody. That's what we're braced for. And that's that way. That's what we're braced for. We kind of brace for that. And most of the time, in breaking it down with them, that came, I'm knocking my microphone, right? That came from the media. When they see younger Black Americans, they see the videos, they see the gangster rap, and they see the women shaking themselves up and cussing and loud and whatever. And remember, this is a respect culture. So that's like, oh God. When they see young ladies walk around, I'm the baddest bitch, or some dude, yeah, man, I smacked that bitch. And they're like, how do you talk that way? You know what I mean? So that's the difference. So it's almost like they're guarded against that. Now, I can hang with the best of them with language. I mean, in America, working in the jails, driving a dollar van, doing different jobs, being gritty. If you speak that language of disrespect and profanity, trust me, I can conjugate curses better than most people. And I'm not happy about that. But if you think I'm going to be so polite with you, and I'm talking in an American way back there, we'll get down. But I don't do that here, right? And I don't do that back there. It's my voice, right? Stuff. I use those stupid words. That's an insult to what I know as far as knowing how to communicate. And so those who get to know me here, they're like, wow, you know, and you try to enlighten folks here like me. Big shout out to Kofi, the Uber driver. We had a great conversation, brother. You're on the channel. You subscribed. I was right there when you did it. My number's down there. Give me a call. I want to have you come on and talk. And we had a phenomenal conversation. He knows a lot about, he's never been to America. He doesn't want to go to America, but we spoke. It was almost like an alliance where we both understood where we're coming from. Him as a Ghanaian who understands America, and me as a person who was born in America who understands Ghana. And it was almost like a shaking of the hands from across the shore, even though I'm still here and I'm here, right? These are the kind of conversations we have to have. Next, number 10, crime and safety. The U.S. is tense. Violence is normalized. Sirens are part of the soundscape. Ghana is safer. I said safer, calmer, community policed. People watch out for each other. You can walk at night without the same fear. And it's true. You don't see police hardly. I mean, I can see the police precinct, that's the American way we see it, but the police station, that's what we'll say. It's right up the road. But you don't hear gunshots. You don't, things happen. You leave something out, somebody might need it or feel they need it, and they might take it if you left it out, right? I've had it where one situation, I was in a Denta by the overpass near the KFC, and for those who know it, and I was doing a video there, and if you've been on the old channel, because you know that YouTube took the other channel down, that I used to angle the camera where you can see down with the cars going past while I talk, because it made it more interesting. You can see life while I talk, as opposed to me sitting up in front of a wall or a fake background. And I went down there, and it was late, well, late for here at that time when I lived in the city in the apartment before we moved up here. And about 10:30, I went down. I said, man, I know I'm not gonna be able to sleep tonight. Let me just go down there and do a little video and put it out there and whatever. So I finished. I was taking things down apart. I broke down the tripod. As a matter of fact, there's a tripod that you can't see this over there. I broke it down, but I leaned it up against the wall. I got everything in my bag, packed it right, made sure I have everything, the lens cap, this, that, this filter, this, whatever. And so I started walking. And it's one of these bridges where you walk to the end, where it's over the sidewalk, but you got this long slope going down, and you got another long slope going down. Motorcycles can go up on that thing, bicycles and everything. So I got to the end of it and walked about 2 blocks. I didn't know there was a guy on the other side of the bridge coming up, and he saw me leave my tripod leaned up against the wall. I'm sitting there walking, and I hear someone say, excuse me, sir. He's a young guy, but he wasn't like super young. He was about 30, whatever. Young, that's young for me. That's half my age. But he tapped me, and he had my tripod. And he said, I saw you when you walked away. Here, please, I don't want to see you lose, your equipment. I was like, whoa. First thing I started to do is to dig in my pocket. I had to reward this brother. And I pulled out a wad of cash. Didn't have much, but it was a wad, right? And I said, brother, listen, you saved me a lot of money, a lot of time. And I have more than one tripod, but that's my favorite travel tripod. I can go around, I can break it down real small, put it in my bag and move with it. The other ones, they stay big. So he said, no, God will bless me. You don't have to, just do good for somebody else. This is what I believe in. I said, man, I'm looking at him like, and he was released. I said, no, man, come on, let's go over there and get some. No, I'm okay. I feel good for what I did, and I'll be blessed. Thank you. God will bless me more than what you can give me. This is what I have to do. It almost brought tears in my eyes. And I was already here for maybe 2 years, year and a half, but it really struck me. And I've seen other acts of kindness and experienced other acts of kindness just like that. And even the areas where they say, because I would sometimes, when I first got here, I'd leave out at night, 10:30, 11. I'm crazy that way, right? That's the New York City of me. I used to do that growing up. I'd hop on the Trocho and don't even care where it went. Where are you going, brother? This is the last stop. I said, okay, you turning around or you're going to be running for another little bit? Oh, we're going to be running for probably another 3 hours, into a busy area. I said, I'm going to walk around down here and I'm going to catch one of the vans going out. Is this where I can catch it? Yeah. But brother, are you sure you want to walk over here? I'm like, what's wrong? People are selling things and it's lit up bright and everything's open, even though it's getting late. Why not? Oh, brother, this is Circle. You don't want to come down here. You might get, they try to take stuff from you, whatever. And I'm like, I'm not belittling anything, but I know my radar can be transferred over. And I walked. I saw some guys looking at me. I'm looking at them. I'm like, hey, man, what's up? You know what I mean? Nothing happened. I ain't going to push it. But anywhere you are in the world, and I've said this before on a few other shows, people choose their victims. They pick their victims. I'm not an easy catch. If you want to try to do something to me, you better catch me from behind and stab me or shoot me. But face to face, I'm not Superman. I'm not 20 years old. I'm that times 3 plus 2 years. But you can see that my energy is not, You might beat me down if it's 3 or 4 of y'all, but all y'all are going to walk away with something wrong with you. You're going to lose an eye. I'm going to rip out your nostril, whatever, take your head, bash it. See, but I'm not violent. But don't go there with me and I won't go there with you. So you want peace, I want peace. We're cool, right? So I never had any problem. So the whole crime thing and whatever, the most, like when you're in an Uber, you're sitting in the front seat or any seat and you have the window down and they say, brother, put the phone down or roll your window up because the motorcycles will go by real quick, see you and snatch your phone and drive off. And you know that they can fit in little spaces. If it's a traffic jam, you can't go anywhere, right? That's not big. That's not something big. Anyway, let me move on. 11, work-life balance. Americans live to work. Ghanaians work, live. Simple engine explains why Americans are exhausted and Ghanaians seem to age slower. It's the truth. They seem to age slower. It's the temperament. It's the mentality, especially when, a lot of Americans have to work. They have to live to work because everything is so expensive. And there was so many things pushed in your face to buy, and they fall into the trap of always wanting to buy the next thing, and rent, mortgage, all of that stuff is expensive enough. The price of food going up, GMO food that's not fresh, packaged, processed food that's going to guarantee you a trip to the hospital, all of that stress that way. And I know me in America, it wasn't as bad because I knew how to balance the energies. So for me, I wouldn't say stress, but I'm different as far as how I approach things, mentally. I wasn't in America. Oh God, I'm stressed. Oh God, I can't take it, man. Let me get a drink. What kind of pills are those? Let me get some pills. Let me go out there and get a prostitute and catch something. Nah. Mm-mm. I was always doing these shows, though, for the time in my life that I was online and still living in America. You saw I drove the bus full time, 11 hours a day. When I was in corrections, there was no YouTube around, right? The last year I was in, YouTube had just started, but I was writing and drawing. So I had excess time that I made for myself because I wasn't overextending myself and falling into the trap of the so-called American lifestyle. I didn't really live an American lifestyle when I was in America. Even when I was living in New York City, which I lived there for 38 and a half years. The rest of the other 19 or so years, it was in Orlando. So in Orlando, before I went to work, I would get up, sometimes do a show or get up earlier, go in the backyard that was completely fenced off. Mrs. had a huge, garden and trees and mangoes and all that stuff. I'd strip off my clothes, go in the bushes and lay back for an hour or two. Maybe I might record something because people are saying, how do you get so much content done? You work a full-time job. You're doing these shows for 3 and 4 hours at night. How do you get this stuff done? Because I was smooth with it and I was in balance. So when I would go to work, I'm so relaxed. By the time, and this is the way it was with me, 11-hour shift. I didn't really realize I was at work until 8 or 9 hours. I was so in the zone. I knew what I was doing. I was very much aware of it. But it bothered me. Now, I was in, I'm like, oh man, I knew I was at work, but I didn't start feeling that I was at work until it was almost time to leave, right? So the way I explained it, like I explained it before, you have the picture-in-picture screen, the old TVs, I don't know if they still have that, but the picture-in-picture screen, let me just check on everything, make sure it's going through good. Okay, it is. Okay, Brother Landon just came in. Welcome on, Brother Landon. But the way I say this, that I adjust my focus like a picture-in-picture screen, where you have a little screen and you have the bigger screen, right? I remember back in, was it the 80s when that was first coming out, that 2 channels like NBC networks, CBS or ABC, they all might have a boxing match at the same time. So you can watch in a little screen what's going on channel 2, and on the big screen, watch what's going on channel 4 or 7 and switch it up. So for me, I'm at work in maintenance mode, completely focused, completely there, but it's not sucking all the juice from my awareness and my concentration, because now it's like I'm somewhere else in a righteous trance. Not maybe trance is the worst way to say it, because trance, you're not really aware of what's going on around you. But I was at peace, doing my job, calm, hearing some music in my head, thinking my thoughts, things that come down. I get to the red light, I jot it down. Long red lights, I whip out some artwork on the steering wheel and draw. I was in my own world. I always preserve myself in my own world, regardless as to the environment around me. So while I will tell you there's stress in America, it wasn't stressing me like that. Like I saw other people, Lance, how do you do it? And I'm having fun. I got a good temperament. But still, it's stressful when you see people around you running around, pulling their hair out. Oh, man. And not to say I've never been in stressful situations, but that wasn't the norm for me. Because I said to myself, I am not going to get old like some of these people are making themselves old. No way. Number 12, economic pressure, rent, taxes, insurance, medical bills, fees, fines. America bleeds you dry from every direction. Ghana has challenges, but the day-to-day cost of simple being alive is so much lighter. Breathing doesn't cost money. Not to say it does in America, but that's symbolic, that it seems like just to breathe in America, it costs money, right? And I mean, that's pretty much self-explanatory. Things cost here. Like I said, you want to go live down in the Accra, in some of them areas that are expensive, you're going to pay a lot of money, because there are people who come. Either they're here, you got billionaires here in Ghana, you got millionaires here in Ghana, and they want to live down there, and they move to another country, property there also. So they will drive those prices up. But there's a range. I chose me, Mrs. Curve, to come way up here. Living is easier, much easier, much easier. I'm even mad. You know what I mean? Why can't it be like that, like this in America? Why couldn't I have found something like this or even come out here earlier? But my American experience is invaluable. The fast pace, human nature, discerning spirits, keeping my skills sharp. That It's almost like Superman when he left. I'm not saying I'm Superman, but it's like Superman on the planet Krypton, he was normal. But when he came out to planet Earth, unfortunately, when the planet exploded, his father sent him in the ship, he realized it was a different gravity and he has magic powers. That's the way I feel. I'm not saying I have magic powers. I don't think I can fly, but because I come from such a fast place, I can kind of pick up on a lot of things faster, right? And I'm cool with it. And I don't think I'm better than anybody, but human nature wise, I can read situations, especially out here, a lot faster. But number 13, stress and aging. In America, people age 10 years for every 5. It's true. Stress is etched into faces. In Ghana, even elders move with softness. The sun, the food, the slower pace, it all adds up to more life in your years. And that's one thing I figured out immediately after coming here. And I'm not saying it's just Ghana. It could be Kenya. It could be Tanzania. It could be Gambia. And all of these different countries here in the motherland have their issues politically, have the outside world messing with them, Europe, UK, Bill Gates, trying to push stuff on you. There's all things going on, but compared to America, oh, how they say it? Oh, hell no, right? Number 14, mental health. In the US, depression and anxiety spread like wildfire. Social media, bills, loneliness, and pressure eat people alive. It's true. In Ghana, mental health issues exist, but the environment is healing, not triggering. Now, I ain't gonna lie. I've gone down. I was in Kitasi, passing through Kitasi on the van. And I'm sitting there, la, 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 you know what I mean? My business. And that's where they sell all the fruits. My friend that's there, she always says, oh, I am your second wife. The heavyset young lady. Yeah, I have her on Instagram. I think I put her up on YouTube a long time ago. Maybe you might remember her. I'm going to get her on video again. But I'm sitting, and it was like a little pick back up. And so I see people crossing the street. It wasn't a crosswalk, but they were crossing. So my eyes are just scanning and people watching. And I see this lady, she's naked. She didn't have nothing to cover herself. And she's walking. She was whistling. And she locked eyes with mine and smiled and nodded. And I'm like, oh, I nodded back. And she kept going. But she wasn't clean. You could tell she was sleeping out in the street. She was kind of dirty. And I knew, and her hair was matted, not in wanting to have locks, but it was a little dirt, whatever. And I said, okay, she got a mental health issue. So I spoke to my friend there. She said, yeah, she doesn't bother anybody. She walks around with no clothes on. Sometimes she wraps around. I've seen guys like that. I've seen 2 other guys. I've seen 3 cases in the street where, and I don't know what it is about the mental health. And this is not just Ghana, this is America too, where people just want to take their clothes off. It's like that's a restriction. That's and I can understand that. And this is off topic, but when you have a uniform on, and you go to work, you have a job that is required for you to wear a uniform. It's like when you come home and take that uniform off, it's such a relief. Like at that point, you're finally finished with work. Like even when you leave and you punch out and you're not getting paid, you're still at work because you got the uniform on. You go to the supermarket and people see you as your job and that's on you and you get out of it. It's like, whew. So when people are stressed or have mental health issues, it's like coming out of their clothes is relieving themselves of the identity that they have or think they have or is imposed on them, And it's something about being naked. I like to be naked. I'm home. I walk around naked. I don't want to. Sometimes I'm like, I just go out in the back and wear my little Crocs or whatever. And that's another dimension of it. Every time I get up, I go to my private balcony and lay out in the sun for an hour or two like I did today. And it just puts your mind somewhere else. Too much information. I know. Number 15, identity and self-worth. In America, Black people are always fighting to prove themselves, fit in, maneuver around racism, and survive psychological attacks. In Ghana, you are simply you. Blackness is the norm. There is relief, pride, and identity without apology. Right? Living in both Ghana and America teaches you that the American dream is often a nightmare dressed up nicely. Once you experience a culture that lets you breathe, you realize how abnormal the US stress culture really is. Ghana gives you back your time, your peace, and your humanity. There is something healing about being surrounded by your own people, not fighting for acceptance, not coaching, not in your identity every time you walk out of the house. Ghana removes that psychological weight completely. You begin to understand what true freedom feels like. Every Black person in America should at least visit Africa once, even if they don't plan to move. The lesson is not about choosing one country over another. It's about seeing life through a different lens. When you compare the two worlds, you realize how many things America normalizes that are actually harmful to your health, your spirit, and your sanity. Ghana is not perfect. No place is, but it gives you something priceless: balance. You may earn less, but you live more. You may not have as many gadgets, but you'll have more peace. You may move slower, but you move with purpose. And once you taste a life that feeds your soul, you will never again settle for a life that only drains it. That's the honest to God truth. And I'm going to try to find these other notes that I jotted down that were a little more, I'm not going to say explicit, but they touched on some things. Okay, let me see. All right. I have to scroll up here if I can get this in. If this didn't get erased, let me see. Just bear with me, family. I got a couple screens here open. I was a typing fool earlier to get this stuff together. And again, I ain't gonna lie, I don't know how to do it. I go on automatic and it just comes out. Okay, let me see here. And it may be a little redundant. I'm just gonna rattle off some points here that may not have been covered in detail. Yeah, this is a little different. I don't mind. Let me see how long I've been on. And because I want to prepare something else tonight after this. Okay, an hour and 2 minutes. That's cool. Let me see. Let me see who's on. Okay, we got 17 people in, and I'm cool with that. All right. I made some bulleted points that didn't trickle over into the article that I wrote that I just read for you, but let me just pick through these and some of the thoughts that I had. Okay. America has safety nets. Ghana doesn't. This is a little more hardcore, right? In the US, people can fall back on food stamps. And see, these are things you need to realize, right? They can fall back on food stamps, Section 8 housing, unemployment checks, disability benefits, homeless shelters, and emergency grants. In Ghana, you're either earning or hungry. No safety net. People hustle harder and ask for help more. Number two, Ghana is a hand-to-mouth economy. Most people earn money daily and spend it daily. I'm just saying this so Americans can get the mentality of how it is for a common Ghana worker. There are no weekly or bi-weekly paychecks, right? And there are, in some cases, you work in a bank, you work here, and sometimes you don't even get paid. That's another situation. You will get it eventually, but that's part of the dark side of what goes on here, right? This creates a culture where asking for small money is normal survival, not disrespect. So you come here as an American and you have somebody who sees you as a foreigner, as a tourist, you're spending money, you got nice clothes on, nice watch, the latest phone, nice shoes on, you're made up, your hair's done, and they ask you for 5 CDs, which right now is less than 50 cents. Oh, excuse me, could you help? Because you look like you have it. And that's survival because there is no safety net. And like when I first came here on a visit for 3 weeks back in 2019, when we would going down to the city and the intersections, I said, man, these people are hustling. They're working hard. They're selling things, drinks and windshield wipers and kids' toys, books, whatever, and they're selling it. And I thought, I'm not saying anybody's lazy, but they had no choice because there's no safety net, right? That's a lesson to be learned, right? Because there's so many things you can do or get in America, like I stated before: food stamps, Section 8, unemployment checks, disability benefits, homeless shelters, emergency grants, that many in America have gotten complacent, right? Just recently, the government shutdown and the potential for the food stamps to be knocked out, the EBT card and all that stuff. There's none of that here. None. So imagine you have none of that, just your family. If you go hungry or you get paid, it's hand to mouth. 2 bits of information I'm going to release and just say. I know personally a young lady was looking to get a job at a restaurant, and as a waitress. She didn't live close. She didn't drive. She didn't have a car. They were telling her how much she was going to make. And she was telling me this stuff in confidence. And she said, I asked her, I said, can I talk about this? I'm not going to put your name out there. And at the rate of exchange at that time, and what she was going to get paid gross was the equivalent of $32, y'all, for the month. For the month. Another situation where a gentleman's going to get paid $100, the equivalent of $100. You got to pay for transportation. You got to get your food, whatever. There's no regulatory situations here that way. And we come as visitors and say, oh, I know they're pretty much getting around this. Even if you hear that it's a little cheaper than America, let me tell you something. I think security guards get paid more than the local cops around here. Security guards in America with a little certificate to say I'm a security guard, some little course you take. Yeah. So that hit hard. So if we come to a restaurant and tip a little bit the way we would tip in America, then it's like, man, you gave me that? Wow, thank you. It's a difference. So I look at what many say, oh, they're annoying with the begging, they're always asking, because there's no help, right? It's hard to get a job as a Ghanaian. The opportunities are not there for the youth. If I'm not putting down folks in America, but the poverty that many people here have had to endure for those who may not be skilled, or it's like playing musical chairs, right? That if it was Americans, they would have been said, hey man, let me put that work in the street. You know what I'm talking about. We're going to sell something. We're going to stick something up. And because of the religious undergirding, that keeps a lot of people from doing things and things do happen here. Things do happen. Let me read on these notes. This is extra, right? And I'm going to say it how they say here. All right. Number 3, and I've said this before prior, Americans live on credit, Ghanaians live on cash. I have to say it. Cars bought on credit, homes bought on credit, furniture on credit, even groceries put on credit cards. And I'm saying that to the Ghanaians about how many live in America. When you see us driving these brand new cars, young folks driving brand new cars, you know, they may have good credit or acceptable credit. They put a little money down, they drive off. The car's not theirs, but you see this on social media and you think, oh man, I'm near 50 years old, never, and I'm making this up because I'm 62, right? I'm near 50 years old, never owned a new car. And that guy over there, 23 years old, he's driving a brand new luxury truck, right? It may not always be that way. Just to even get a Toyota Corolla, but you can drive for the brand. But they don't know that here because in Ghana, cars are cash. Land is cash. Houses are cash. Construction is cash. So they think when they see us in America with all of this luxury around us and all of this stuff that, oh, it's cash too. No, it's not. So Ghanaians get the wrong impression when they observe American life through social media and through the internet. Because if you don't pay, the repo man is going to come get your car. If you don't pay that mortgage, you're getting booted out, right? Here, when you pay for it with cash, it doesn't happen. It doesn't happen that way. It's a different mentality. Although they may not have the latest or there's more peace of mind. When you see a Ghanaian with something that they own, they actually own it. Now, there are situations out here that in certain cases, banks will loan, for certain things, but you have to have the collateral, you have to have the money. But that's not the way really things are done here. The majority of the time, it's all about cash, right? Number 4, Americans look rich because of credit. A new car, new phone, big house. Ghanaians see that, and assume wealth. That's what I was saying. They said it better here in these notes. But Americans know a missed payment can have everything repossessed. I just said it twice. Number 5, Ghanaians don't understand American debt pressure. In America, one wrong move means eviction, repossession, foreclosure, bad credit, or job loss. Ghanaians don't feel the same pressure because their system isn't built on credit risk. I'm glad I said that. Number 6, Americans don't understand Ghana's survival hustle, okay? And we're going back and forth for what things that Ghanaians need to know and what Americans need to know. Like I said, this is a healing conversation. This is a conversation, discussion of understanding. It's not about pointing fingers from one side and pointing fingers from the other side. And this is what the divisive factors like to focus on instead of saying, hey, let's sit down and talk about real life and what your perceptions are, and let's correct it so you have an understanding, okay? Okay. Americans don't understand Ghana's survival hustle. Americans often ask, why are people begging? Why are they always asking for money? Because in Ghana, your stomach is your boss. People grind daily to survive. Number 7, cultural normalcy of asking. In Ghana, asking for help is normal and not seen as begging. It's part of community living. But Americans see it through an individualistic lens and feel targeted. When if you need something, and people offer you too. Folks will offer you things here too. I've been places and, oh, would you like this? Would you? No, I'm okay. Save it for somebody who needs it or whatever. Or one thing they say, if they're eating, no matter where they are, they have a plate of food and they're about to eat something and they say, you are invited. Right? Ghanaians will I'm telling it the way you say it. You are invited. So I'm going to tell a dirty joke. There was a woman. She was in the restaurant. She just got her order. She was sitting near me. She's Ghanaian. She dropped something and picked it up. I think it was some change. And while she was bent over, she turned around and said, you are invited. And I'm like, what is she trying to invite me to? It was the food, but I saw the nyash. I saw the backside. She said, you invited? I said, what kind of restaurant is this? Anyway, I got to say something stupid, right? Number 8, perception of Americans as wealthy targets. Okay, we're going to get down on one now. Ghanaians assume Americans have money because they come for vacation with savings. The savings they have make it seem as though because they're spending it, like, I'm going to be here for 2 weeks, I'm going to live it up type thing. And Ghanaians see that and say, man, this must be the way they live all the time, which is not the case. They spend freely because of the exchange rate, but certain things are cheaper at the exchange rate and certain things are even just as expensive, right? They wear nicer clothes. Well, they'll dress up, fresh stuff, whatever. They'll look like $1 million because that's part of showing out when you go on vacation. They use better electronics. Well, electronics are so cheap in America. Out here, pound for pound, because most of the time when they ship things over, you're going to pay the duty fee, right? I mean, little things that in America, I would have somebody, if I know they're coming over, hey, listen, I ordered this. Let me send this to you and bring it over in your luggage or bring it over and give it to me. A lot of the stuff that I have that's new, I had it brought over. Because here, it's expensive, which makes it even seem more impossible to many Ghanaians because it's like, it's expensive for an American. Of course, it's going to be expensive for me if you're not making a lot of money, right? Here we go. Let me see. Number 9. Okay. Women target American men for financial gains. This is not all women. Let me say it again. This is not all Ghanaian women, but many, especially in nightlife areas. Nightlife areas, y'all, you know what it is. See American men as financial boosters. Let me say it. A shower. A shower is prostitute. I'm not saying Ghanaian women are that, but that's the word they use because Nigerian women use that word, or in Nigeria, all in this region, everybody knows what that word means. It's spelled A-S-H-A-W-O-S. A showers or a shower. When you hear that, that's low-key prostitutes. It doesn't mean you're on the street corner walking, but you can be trying to hustle something with somebody and nobody knows you're doing this. I've had people approach me lots of times, but not in a gross way or graphic way. And I know where they are, like out in the street corner. I'll get some footage and show you. Like back in the day in New York City on the west side of Manhattan, they walking out, right? Same thing. But there's certain areas for that. And that's usually in the tourist areas. But all over, you can have somebody trying to get a little something out of you and let you know, I can take care of you a certain way, and even regular women believe American men are walking ATMs because of what they've observed. And we're saying regular women that are not prostituting, okay? The vast minority may indulge in that, the vast minority. But there's a gradual range with it. You can get a little flirtation and they expect a little something. They can promise you something and try to get money out of you and nothing happens. I've heard all the stories. I'm not saying the Ghanaian women are like this, but when they see American men, and the same thing with Ghanaian men when they see American women. A lot of times, I know some situations in real life where, oh, I want to love you. I want to be with you. I promise the world to you and all of this and all of that. Let me finish this part. Is this the same part? And I'm going to talk about something else with a lot of American women who move here. A lot of topics to talk about. I haven't said much about these things. I observed them. There are other channels that talk about it all day, and they hype it up. And I said, well, let me just sit down in the cut before I open my mouth, because when I say something, it's going to be a true observance. That doesn't mean I'm right 100% of the time. That's why I would never say all of this or all of that, right? Let me go to the next one. Number 10. And we'll come back to the other point. Imported relationships don't work the same. A Ghanaian woman may expect an American man to take care of everything because in her view, he's rich. So when you're an American man, you come out here and you may date a Ghanaian woman, and she may not be of means. Even if she is, she expects you to take care of everything because the perception is that you're rich. An American man may expect partnership, not dependency. See, he's not expecting complete dependency. The is worth no, but it's a way of looking at it culturally, because you're the rich American, so this should be no problem for you. They're not going to say you're rich, but the perception, right? This mismatch leads to misunderstandings. I have a few other points here that I'm going to make, but these kind of went between what I said before in a more direct way. And here's another one that I will say. There are a lot of, I'm not going to say all, okay? There's no all here on any show that I do when I speak on things like this. But I've witnessed many American women who have moved to Ghana, and they just don't move to the outskirts or into a cross. Some may move to another part of Ghana like Cape Coast, where there are a lot of Black women who have retired, right? And they move up there, not just there, but all over. But there's a concentration from what I could see. Maybe I'm wrong, but my own dealings and here, oh, I live in Cape Coast. Oh, I live in Cape Coast. Man, a lot of y'all in Cape Coast. Even when I would go up there to go to the slave dungeons, they're not castles, they're dungeons, right? and you're there eating, and I hear a New York accent. Are you from New York? I was like, yeah. Where are you from? I'm from Queens. I was born in Manhattan. You're from the Bronx, right? Yeah. And you too? It's like, wow. What did you all agree to come out here en masse? But there's a perception that many have been fooled into that they won't admit. And I looked at this deep for years while living here and talking to different women here who are from America, who have moved here. Not all, but some, and far too much. Because I'm gonna get the scoop, and I'm not gonna say anything until I really see it. But there are a lot of American women who were fed up in their mind with the dating and foolishness that they felt they had to go through in America. And they may have traveled to Ghana as an almost retiring or newly retired, or I'm already retired woman who, she may not have $1 million, but she's not working, she's free. And she has a little cushion to spend on when she can budget it. And when she came to Ghana, she got treated very well, really well, by the men here. Oh, American woman. Oh, you're retired. You got money. Oh, you want to come out here and build a house? Oh, maybe we can get married. I'll be faithful to you. I won't do what the other men. I will not cheat on you. Whatever. Now that's another thing, right? Because they'll give that sweet talk. The American, God, this guy is so sweet. He waits on me hand and foot. And I'm not saying the American women are venomous, but deep in the deepest, darkest recesses of their subconscious mind, where the American man they felt was wild and out of control, and he's cheating and doing this. And she has this humble man who may not have much. A lot of the times, they feel they can control the Ghanaian man. And the Ghanaian man will do their bidding, and it works for a while. But I remember certain instances when that American woman, and it's not one case, it's several cases manifesting in different ways. When she has her girlfriends come out, well, I finished building my house and I have a wonderful man, and maybe soon we're going to get married. I never thought I could have it this way. He's so attentive. It's because possibly he wants an easy way or a way to America. If you get married and you can file the papers even though you live here. I'm not saying all Ghanaian men are like that. I'm just making it a little spicy so you can know that everything is just not surface level. And when those 4 or 5 girlfriends come and they all take a different bedroom, they bunking it up, and the husband or the boyfriend is there who promised to be faithful, he's looking at everybody like, new meat. More American women who are retired, more American women who have their own houses and cars out in America. His buddies are saying, I need you to hook me up with somebody like that. And he's trying to double dip, Well, I think just in case I need to have your number, just in case something happens with your friend, right? I need to be able to get in contact with you. And then, he'll start calling and talking when they go back, or he might try to push up on them when they're here. You are a very beautiful lady. What do you mean by that? Well, I have a friend that wants to meet you, but he's saying it to get next to her. There's a lot. And like I said, with the whole perception of America being this great place, any way to get there. And when they get there, they realize the work, if you're up north, the code, how people are just, you ain't coming to sweet talking there like that. This is not every case. I just threw something at you that I've observed several times and how things worked out, where a lot of times they'll look at you as a cash cow. Oh, I want you to buy me a car. Like I'm just up and going. A lot of these women are not millionaires. They're doing well, especially with this economy. And what they plan to do, they target. But I've seen it work out. I know one particular couple, and the female has been on the show, on the old channel. And her and her husband, it was none of that deceptive stuff, and it working out just fine. So it can work out fine. And again, like I said, it all depends on the individual, how much aware they are of the culture, if they've traveled to America and know what it's like and come back or whatever, and they understand. But it's these perceptions and these false, perceptions that make people act the way they do. Plus, like I said, when you have a culture or a country where things, you don't have any backup, and you look at this so-called great place and these people come in here with the nice clothes, the jewelry, the money to spend. It's like, whoa, I want to be a part of that. I don't blame them, but not in a shyster way. But if it seems like a place is better, and I'm here to say it's not all that it's cracked up to be, right? What you have here, what's free, what's very limited in America, right? The peace of mind, the slower pace, it's less money, sure. But if you do your things right here and show a little unity and have a business plan and work hard, even if you're not making a lot of money, I've seen people come to America and do it there the same way. They live in the same apartment, eat out the same pot, sacrifice. They're not into wasting money. They pool their money together. It may take a few years, but they get their own house, and things like that. We know how that works. Let me see if this is any more points here that's really to bring something new. Okay. Number 12 of this point, of this part of the whole show. Ghanaians think America is easy. It's not. They think money flows, jobs are guaranteed, success is automatic, government helps you. They don't see the burnout, depression, debt traps, racism, or cost of living crisis. They don't see it. They'll feel it when they go. And any honest Ghanaian or any person that comes from the motherland to go to America thinking that it's easy like that, if they're honest, when they come back, they will say the truth. If they want to keep up a facade, they're going to keep up the facade. Many people do. That's human nature. But it's a lot. Look, I lived in America for decades, 58 and a half years, I think, or whatever. So come on now. I know what I'm talking about. And I'm very durable. I've tried every righteous, not scheme, but way to bend the system and make ends meet. And I've done it all. And it's a thing to burn you out and suck your life force. 13 is America expect efficiency. Ghanaian works on time flexibility. American mindset, I need it done now. Ghanaian mindset, it will be done eventually. That's the way it is. The cultural clock is different. This creates frustrations for Americans and pressure for Ghanaians. So I've learned to pull back a little bit since I see how, the culture is and stuff, and just enjoy it for what it is, or just go early or request something earlier than I really need it. I still have the American New York internal clock, but I don't inflict it on anybody. I inflict it on myself. When I'm putting together these shows, like I got to do this, I'm going to do 3 of these today. I got to do this. I got to do stuff on the outside, whatever. Boom, 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 time-wise. I put it on me. I don't pressure anybody else. And I suggest that to anybody moving here or coming here on vacation. Don't put that pressure on anybody else to rush them. Rush yourself if anybody has to be rushed. I'm my own drill sergeant. Okay, tomorrow you're going to wake up at 4 o'clock. I was up from 4 o'clock this morning and I didn't get enough sleep, but I feel like I did. That's how the body works. But probably tomorrow morning, maybe I will. And it's getting later now. For me, it's like 2 minutes to 11. So that means it's like 5 o'clock on the East Coast and it's light, the sun's out. Folks here sleeping, up in the country. Things are dead, things are done. But I won't put any pressure on anybody like that. Let me see here. Anything I missed? Okay, Ghana is slower but more peaceful. America is faster but more stressful. We spoke on that. Life in Ghana moves at a calm human pace. Life in America moves at a machine pace. Ghanaians envy American money. Americans envy Ghanaian peace. That's a good way of framing it. I'm going to say it again. Ghanaians envy. We don't mean envy like I'm super jealous and I'm going to snatch it from you. But Ghanaians envy American money. Americans envy Ghanaian peace. And me, I can say that I know when to stop being my own drill sergeant and to say, okay, I let go. And it's okay to let go. I've always been a person just to keep hammering, keep pushing, keep get up in the middle of the night to go pee. Let me go do something some more. Too much information. There have been times, for those of you who have been on the platform when I had the other channel, I might be fast asleep to take a peek. What happened? Need to do a story on it, a show. I'm like, okay. And I'll go in my old studio in the old house and hit everything up and go live. That's how I would push myself. And I still do when I want to. But that Ghanaian piece, and then worse, up in the mountains. I look out over the balcony. On the other mountain, there's a hotel, good distance. You can see it. Sometimes they play some good music. When they have Americans come by, they're playing all this music from the 80s, the 70s, the 90s. And I'm rocking. I'm like, wow, but it's peaceful. The animals, whatever. And people play their music even during the week. So the people who are retired up here, but it's not loud. Oh, I can't sleep. It's just so peaceful. I don't care what's going on. You fall out. Number 15 on this particular segment, both sides misunderstand each other because they only see the surface. Ghanaians see fashion, phones, luxury cars, vacations. Americans see begging, hustling, scams, needy behavior. Both sides judge without understanding the system behind the behavior, and that's very important, right? So that's pretty much it. Let me come on back to the chat room. I hope the sound was good. Sweetberry, I see you. I see you. I had the other screen open, so that's why I didn't get a chance to acknowledge you. Wow, it's 3 p.m. God, to me, that's almost like yesterday. And for all the Ghanaians here who are watching, I'll give you a little treat. A dish that's so loved, jollof rice. Yes, indeed. Anybody want to come on in? Let me see. Let me just put it out there if you do, because I'm going to work on some other things tonight, which means I might have to push myself, but I don't care. If I don't do it tonight, I'll do it tomorrow. Let me put the link there in the chat room. And I'm not going to stay on longer, but if anybody wants to come on in and say anything, and again, for those who have watched this after the fact, it might be tomorrow, it might be next week, or 6 months from now, or a year. Feel free to comment, because this is what I'm going to continually watch to see the comments to spark other shows with this discussion. I think I'm brutally honest with it. I don't want to insult anybody, but if you have a modicum of common sense, you'll understand the spirit in which I speak. And it's not to be venomous or to put anybody down or vindictive. Sometimes we have differences in the way we express ourselves and differences in language and how we use language. And that's so if you felt it was insulting in a way, give me a chance to explain myself, and we can break things down further, but still express your differences in the comment section, and I'll be looking at it, and we'll do more things. I'm very flexible that way. I'm very open that way. I do what the people want to talk about. I want to talk about the things that most people don't want to talk about. Most people, they hide. They whisper stuff, but they don't really want to. I see somebody not going, what is he? He's at a restaurant or something. Yes. Oh, no, don't worry about that, Sweetberry. Excuse me for not making a big announcement ahead of time. This was something I wanted to do and decided to do it earlier today, and I threw it together. And I said, I hope it, I put some notes down, like you can see that I always do now, to make sure every point is out, because there's shows that I would do in the past, and I say, man, off the dome, I got 90% of it. There's one good point that I want to not just talk about, but say a certain way, word it a certain way. You know what I mean? So I'll put the notes down in front of me and just freestyle and talk about it. And it keeps me, it's like driving down a double lane street, the double yellow line in the middle. The line keeps me where I have to go. So that's what I do, you know. So tomorrow, what am I going to be doing? Am I leaving, going out? I don't know. We'll see. But if I do have camera, we'll travel. And I'll bring more footage of me in the street here in Ghana to show you like I used to do before. But since I got used to it, and I'm used to it, but then again, people who are not here are not used to it. And I want to go to varied areas, not just one area like the markets that I do. Because me, I know many places, but I go to where I need. And that's the way I am. I'm very economical with how I spend my time, where I go. You know, when I want to see something, like, okay, we got Dirty December coming, and I have a very dear friend of mine coming out here, and she's going to be staying in Accra. And so she's like, listen, I'm coming with a group, but the bottom line is I'm going to stay after the group, and I'm scared. So don't worry about it. You know, you can come up here, or sometimes when there's something you want to see, you're not going to be by yourself. You can go places with me that you probably won't want to go at night by yourself. Not that something's going to happen to you, but because you might be scary within yourself, because it's different, you know? So she said, oh, what should I wear? What should I be? What should I bring? Well, I said, you're coming out here with a highly intellectual, high status group. I think she's coming out here. What's the lawyer's name? Benjamin Crump. I think he's coming out. She's coming out with him and a group of people. But when they go back, she's going to stay, putting a business out there, right? And she's also a politician. A politician Orlando that I know, and you know, when she ran for certain offices. So and we're good friends on that level. So she's coming out, and I said, how many functions are you going to? You know, I think it's like one thing she's gonna, you know. Oh, I see your question. I didn't see it before. What's the divorce rate in Ghana? I don't think it's that high, but what I do think there are a lot of people who would want to get divorced, but because of family and holding together and tradition and not letting anybody down, they'll stay in a marriage that's not, you know. I see that's something else I need to talk about, but I can't say it's 80% or 20%, but it's a lot. It's a lot. There are other factors that go into that I will talk about another time. But a lot of people who are married who may feel that the marriage is not all that, which you got married. And sometimes people get married, families and stuff. I'm not going to say it's prearranged, but it's kind of like that in certain situations. And when you have two families who know each other, who are backing each person getting married, it's a pressure to stay in it. See, in America, you meet somebody at the club on Saturday, and Wednesday you got married. You know what I mean? And nobody knows nobody's family. You know what I mean? So then you get a divorce. You're going to pay for this divorce. That's how it is. But here, it's the ceremony, it's the families, it's the tradition, and you better not embarrass your family and just, I want to pull out. You know, you ain't gonna do that. I know situations like that, but I don't know what the percentage is of that. And that goes anywhere. That goes anywhere. You know what I mean? But yeah, let me see what else is here. I heard the dowries, but me being here and not haven't gone to any weddings, I'm going to ask around, but I know they're there. I know they're there with marriages. And I don't know how many, like, people in the city, younger people that get married, is it like that? Has it shifted toward being more Western-like? I don't know. That's something I want to find out. So in my journeys, trust me, I don't forget anything. When I'm talking to people, I'm asking them all kind of questions, and we're going to come up with some answers. But again, I can't say any exact percentage, and maybe there are statistics out there for that question, Calamonk. But even then, when you have people who take this, the stats on things, people sometimes are going to lie. You know what I mean? Like you have a gay community out here, but nobody talks about that, and it's pushed, and it's illegal, and so how many people are gay, right? There may be a lot more to check off on the paper, Oh, I don't want them to find out. Maybe they might check the fingerprints on the paper and find out it's me or whatever have you. There's a lot of things, that go on. And will we ever get the proper, but you got to go and feel overall. You're not going to get the perfect statistics, but, you will get a general feel. Like going outside, you say, is it hot or cold? Oh, man, it's hot. You might not be able to say, oh, it's 97.5 degrees, but it's hot. It might be in the 90s. I can't tell you exactly what it is, but it's hotter than it was yesterday. So that's how I kind of go without freaking out on statistics. But I would like to find that out, though. Let me scroll up and see if there were any other statements. Yes. Yes, Landon Price, thank you for the wonderful comment. Let me see. Oh, of course, Landon Price, Misperceptions loves it. Oh, God. This is like Jamaica on steroids as far as the weather and the country and everything like that. But the negative stuff, nah, that's not happening. Let me see. Oh, Sweetberry said she can believe that. Yeah. So I'm going to wrap it up. I got something else that I'm writing up. I'm almost done with it. When I set this show up, I started, and I realized, like, man, I got 3 minutes before I go live. So here I am. So we've been on for about an hour and 40 minutes. And when I get off, I'm going to go and lay out and just look over the mountain and chill. Nice breeze out there. And I'll prepare something tonight. I might not come back on. I'm pretty much not going to come back on, but I'm setting up something that may go up tonight or may be up tomorrow. And I will do another live. We'll pick a good topic. I'm open for suggestions and questions and different things. I flow that way. See, like Calamunk, when you wanted me to do that show, I did it, right? Hit me off and let me know, and we'll do it. So I'm going to sign off right now. Nobody else came in. That's cool. That's not a problem. So we did good, and I hope I answered a lot of questions and brought a lot of healing and understanding, not only to us from the West, but to us here in Ghana who may not know and understand. And I'm open to speaking to any Ghanaian wants to come on and come down to the studio and we talk, or I bring my camera to you if you have some kind of misunderstanding or whatever. I see Calamunk is here. What's going on, brother? We got a few minutes before you talk to me.
Okay, I'm gonna keep this short and to the point. Recently, man, I've been to Senegal before, and I was getting ready to get married to this young lady, and I chose to come here and pursue a career in personal training and fitness. Anyway, that didn't work out. But I was also, when I came back, I was in a relationship with a narcissistic woman, and that's prevalent.
You faded out, brother. Maybe they can hear you still, but you faded out on my side. Let me know if you can hear Calamunk, because this all goes in the cloud. So maybe I'm missing out. Did he blank out? Yeah, I'm not hearing him. Maybe you all are not hearing me.
Let me see. I don't think I'm muted.
Yeah, it muted. There you go. We can see you.
Okay. Can you
talk to
me?
us. Huh?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you now. But for like a good 45 seconds, you blanked out when you said that the marriage and everything, and you were speaking about that. But just repeat that part and
yeah, talk. I basically came back to America to pursue a career in health and wellness, and I just couldn't take it anymore. And I was also in a relationship with a woman, and she was just all about her. And that's what goes on a lot here. There's a lot of narcissistic people here, and through being in a relationship, I learned a lot about myself and the things that I need to change. And I've been working on myself ever since. But my question is, are the people there narcissistic? Are the women like, oh, I'm so fine and so pretty, you have to serve me and you have to just do for me, and because I'm so fine. And
You have a faction of those, and I'll say it this way, who have been infected with the Western mentality that realize that their shapes, and because out here you got some shapes that are out of this world that don't even look, that they look human, but I'm just saying they it's a different look, and some women have learned to monetize that. And I'm not saying on a prostitution level, but they know in America, when men see them, or American men see them, like, oh my God, they've learned that. But most, they're not thinking that way. Because again, like I said, it's a hand-to-mouth kind of culture. What you make is what you, they're more worried about, hey, how am I going to make it? You know, so a lot of them don't have time to be narcissistic because they're thinking survival. I'm not saying everybody's poor. It's not even a poverty thing. Even the so-called middle class that's diminishing in America, they think this way, right? It's just different here. But when you go out into the country, you see a lot of beautiful young ladies, beautiful bodies, beautiful faces, beautiful demeanors. And when you get with somebody, like you said, you got with somebody from Senegal, you have to understand the culture that they come from, because there are little things that we overlook and the little things that they overlook. And it may become something later on if we don't address it. And this is one of the reasons why, not because of just a relationship level, but a basic understanding of the differences in how we perceive things. Because like I said in the beginning of the show, you have a modern city, you know, an economy that's growing, is not good for the people yet, but it's still progressive. A lot of things going on the surface that looks similar, but when you go beneath the surface, it may be different. So when you get involved with anybody, even if you're in America and it's an American woman that you get involved with, you need to know her upbringing. You need to know what her mentality is, how she was raised. Yeah. If you can meet the family, or if you can't, if they're scattered, find out how this person was raised and be able to share the same thing too. And I just think that no matter where a person comes from, whether it's a relationship between people from different countries in the same country, we don't talk enough with each other to find out what made us to be the way they are now, which is never wrong. But if you don't understand, it's not going to work. It's like getting a contraption or some piece of electronics that requires you to read the instructions, and you say, oh, I don't need the instructions, let me throw it away. I know how to do this. And then halfway through, you don't know what's going on, and you should have took time to investigate.
Yeah.
Especially now, since we're so complex now, with social media hitting our brains and forming our opinions. Sometimes that's not even our real opinion, but we got emotional about something that we saw. And so now we think that this is us, and we bring this to the relationship. You see what I mean? Yeah. So we gotta constantly, you know, wipe off a lot of the stuff that gets on us and
right.
and present the real person, authentic person. And hopefully they did enough homework on themselves to present the authentic person from their side. You know?
Absolutely. And that's the main thing that I'm doing now, man. I'm just working on myself and looking at the part that I played in my previous relationships, and, you know, just trying to be not trying to, but I am being a better man from now on.
You wise man
looking
for
outside
that.
myself. Yeah, not just looking outside myself, but I noticed that a lot of women, and you know, I just don't want to put it on the women. A lot of people here are self-serving. They're like, what can you do for me? What are you going to do for me? And most of them don't even give the, you know, respect and the kindness back. They just expect for you to do for them, and they don't want to do. Yeah. It's not a we thing. It's a me thing, like you said earlier. And
right.
There's a horrible
That's the
mentality.
red flag.
Yeah. It's an individualistic thing. It's not a community thing, and that's what a lot of people don't understand. Nobody wants to be with somebody that's just all about me and this diva Beyonce mentality. Nobody wants to do that.
Right. But that's the result of decades of the feminist movement and a lot of women being told you don't need a man and all that stuff, which is destructive. And I'm not saying that a woman should grab any man just to have a man. There's a lot of rotten men out here.
Yeah.
There's a lot of suspect men out here.
Yeah.
There's a lot of men who don't really like women, but they use the woman for the cover because they really like men. There's a lot of stuff going on. I would never advocate for a woman just to say, oh, or just say, oh, you need a man, just get any man. Because you get a no good man, it's going to take something out of you. And who wants to be? I would never advocate for that. I would tell the woman to stay to yourself, work on yourself, just like you're working on yourself right now. And, take your time. And when you see something good and you get a good feeling, you pursue it, pursue and be honest with your intentions, because you know how many people I know that from when they were in high school, and they may be a little older than me. They might be like up on 70. I'm 62. They're already 70. And their whole life, they leapfrog from one relationship to the next one with no time in between, no time to work on themselves.
Right.
They leapfrog from one to the other. And really, it was like going to the club where they're mixed. When you hear one song going out, you hear the other beat coming in. It was never a clean break.
Right, exactly.
They were with this one and messing with this one and got with this one. And they never had time to even know themselves. They didn't even know themselves.
They didn't care.
You need time to breathe. You need time to learn yourself and try yourself out on the track of life. You don't buy a car and you don't test drive it. Right. So you need to test drive the new version of yourself when you get to that point to say, hey, let me see how I am. I've been working on myself for a year or two. I should be better. I've been observing things, and I think I'm at a point now where this young lady who seems interested in me, whatever, and you're still going to be a work in progress because there's a meshing and a melding, and you're still going to have to grow when you're with this person, even though you have to grow individually and together, and also to have a state of mind where you give them a little space to grow. You know how it is when you're in second grade or third grade and folks bought the clothes for you, but they were a little long and they took it in for growing it out to be growing fat. That's the way it is emotionally and mentally and spiritually. Right. And some of us, we can't really predict how the partner is going to grow because it's like the tree branches. They're all not going to grow. One tree branch may shoot all the way over to this side. Can you handle that if they have an interest to do something or a career or whatever? That's something that you have to compromise with. So it's not a compromise too.
Exactly. And another thing, I know you got to go, but a lot of people think that they can get into a relationship and the other person is just supposed to be like a robot. It's just supposed to serve them. Like there's a lot of women that have the Oprah Stedman. You know what I mean? There used to be this joke about Stedman because Oprah was so powerful and wealthy. She just had this weak husband that just, yes, honey, anything you want, honey, and head down. A lot of women have that mentality. And I just don't want to put it on women, but I'm saying
but you're a man, so you're gonna think about men. I mean, you're gonna think about the women. I understand.
Right, exactly. But they have this Oprah Stedman mentality, and it's like, I'm not gonna let you talk shit to me and then kick me like a dog, and then you leave the house and I come back and I'm licking your hand and acting like everything is going okay. I can't do that. You know what I mean?
Yes.
You're gonna respect me, show me some respect, and I'll give you the respect. You can't yell and scream and you lose your temper and go off and then we're cool for a minute. Then the next day, honey, can we go somewhere? Can we do this? Hell no, we ain't doing none of that. You're gonna respect me, or we're not going nowhere. It's like you don't get it. I'm not Stedman. You can't do me like him.
And there's more to that than meets the eye. You know how the joke goes with Oprah and Gail and Stedman might be that 6 foot something cardboard cutout of a beard of a man to be cover for them. I'm not trying to slander anybody, but this is kind of strange that she's been with him so long, and maybe that's the arrangement that they're not married or whatever, but it's kind of strange. I picked up on that a long time ago. But he's supposed to be a successful businessman on his own right. He may not have the Oprah money, but they're together. Whatever their relationship is, it is. But some women have taken from that. They don't know if Oprah talks to him that way, but because he doesn't have as much financial might, and he's content not to be on the forefront. He's like, I'm Oprah's man. I got to be here on the show too. What about me? It's the Oprah Stedman show. No, he didn't do that. Some men are content to allow their women to flourish if it is that pure. I don't know how pure that relationship is. It is what it is, but we'll never know. You know, there's a lot of smoke and mirrors in the thing, and who knows? So maybe one day we'll find out, things get leaked out. The Wolf Master, thank you so much. Much appreciated. Much love and appreciation. Thank you so much.
I gotta go, man. I know
do more.
You get ready to go too.
Okay, brother. Thank you so much. Thank you for coming in to add that little boost. Always the flavor. And you make good music, man. I'm gonna start playing some of it. Yes.
Yeah, man. Look, I want to make sure that it's not copyrighted, because I don't want you to be like, oh, this guy had me playing his music, and this. So I'm gonna make sure it's not copyrighted.
Somebody do that, man. They struck a lot of my videos, but no. Yeah. I take your word for it. We'll do that. Yeah. All right.
You heard the message, though. You heard the message. I'm
yeah.
You know, changing it up, man. I used to talk about worldly stuff. Now I'm talking about conscious stuff. Yeah.
That's what I'm into, man. I mean, I can filter through the worldly stuff that has good beats and have my own thought on it. That's why I listen to a lot of instrumental. My mind is so set in what I do. I mean, I can get crazy and talk crazy, but that's just surface. But at the core, over the years, over the decades, this is what I'm all about.
Yes, sir.
Okay, all right, brother. Thank you so much. Always appreciated. And thanks again, Wolf Master. Always appreciated. And I'm still going to sign off, but give me suggestions on shows you want to have and discussions, because we can, when it's something you want to do too, we can roll. We can go a few hours and whatnot, electricity permitting, just in case there's a glitch, right? So I have my phone set just in case that happened. So I'll pop it on the phone, right? But I'm going to work on some other things right now that you'll see tomorrow. I said later on tonight, but right now, it's 11:26. Yeah. Probably work on a little bit, doze off, and wake up and hammer it harder again tomorrow. I might go out. I don't know. I'll see how the weather goes, how I feel. I got some things to do around here. And life is good. Life is good. Challenging sometimes, but we got to keep ourselves in a state of mind that everything is good. Not some flowery, blissful denial thing, but you know, always know that good's coming. Always good is coming. You get knocked down, there's always every problem, every challenge has an answer. You just got to wait around, and the answer doesn't always come. But yes, thank you for being here. I'm gonna sign off. I got the camera right here, and it's partially blocking the screen in the chat room. That's why I have to keep ducking down and looking. I'm gonna find another. I'm looking for a particular clip that I can put right up on top of this Apple computer, and it'll be right centered the way it has. But I have to do it this way now, So anyway, let me get to these controls and set it up. Much love to you all. Lancescurv out. Like I said, I enjoyed myself today, and looking forward to seeing you guys tomorrow. Discuss something deep just the same. Thank you so much. Lancescurv out. Peace. Let's play a little music. How about that?
Hello, this is Martha. Actually, today I got to meet my friend Lance. Yes, I got to meet my friend Lance. This is my first time meeting him in person, and he's a very kind man, seriously. I do talk with him on phone, on WhatsApp, but I've never got to meet him. But today, it's just extraordinary. He's very, anything you want to know about life, anything you want to know about just human, anything you want to know about life, please. YouTube, Telegram, Instagram, Twitter, all the social media channels, you got to find him there. He's very inspiring. He's very positive. If you want anything positive about life, please subscribe to Lancescurv. And then every day you got to see different videos, different talks, different topics about life. See you.